Hello everybody, my name's Oliver Smith, and today me and my associate Gail now are going to be teaching you a few things about networking.
Why, thank you, Oliver. There are actually just 3 things to remember. Sign up, suit up, and show up.
Well, I want to thank Oliver for that great introduction, and also thanks to Alan and Scott for having me here today to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, which is how to be a social superhero and how to use networking to really help turn things around, whether for your business, whether for personal life, how you can really tap into being your own social superhero. And there are 3 steps, as we heard from Oliver, that it's about signing up, suiting up, and showing up. Every morning, I have a cold shower. As cold as can be, for about 3 to 5 minutes, I'm standing under that cold water beating down on me. And as I tell this story, I often find people are incredulous, amazed, and they think that this is something quite unusual, amazing. And it got me thinking about, why is that when I know people have done much more difficult things than stepping into a cold shower? And also, when I'm taking that shower, I do it without thinking. It's not something that I spend a lot of time on. I have to get up and get right in there and just do it. It's become a habit. But that habit didn't happen overnight. It took some time to develop doing that. And I realized it's often about a process. We need to have a process in our life for doing a lot of things. And it's similar to being a social superhero or a networking superhero. We often need to look at many areas in our life and how we can sign up, suit up, and show up. And that's what it takes to be a social superhero in any area of our life. So, step 1 is about signing up. Now, this is where a lot of it comes down to our mindset. We have to decide we want to do something. And signing up leads us often, or goes back to, how do we set our goals? So often what we do is we have a goal. We can decide, we have to have the right mindset. We have to decide, this is what I want to do. And whether it's running a marathon, getting more fit, whatever we decide to do, we set out those goals. But here's what happens next, is that often that's where it ends. We start thinking about our goals, we write them down even, and then what do we do next? Now back to that cold shower story. I want to play another clip because this will lead us into why step 2 is important as well. Can find it, gotta get rid of that. No.
I get up early, I go down to the ocean, and I get in the ocean, whether it is cold or not. In fact, cold water first thing in the morning is very powerful for our immune system, for our cardiovascular system, and for our emotional system. So getting in cold water, taking a cold shower, I take cold showers. This is a crazy thing I got into years ago. And it creates a discipline of mind first thing in the morning to say, you know what? Even though it's cold, even though it is uncomfortable to go in the ocean at, in February when it's really cold with no wetsuit, beyond the physiological benefits, which clearly doctors and medical science have proven, the discipline of saying, I don't want to do this. It's going to be cold. I might get sick. It's going to hurt. I don't want to do this. By saying, you know what? I'm in command of my thoughts. I'm in command of my life. And you step into that shower. I walk into that ocean, and I'm creating a groove in my thought currents. I'm creating a pattern of mastery over my mind. And in the yogic world, there was a great sage.
So Paresh Shah does go on to talk about yoga, but what's interesting, he's actually a mechanical engineer, has an amazing background of really, I would say he's someone that has that right-left brain really clicking very well together. Now, the reason I played that, and it goes back to, when we set a goal, we also need to put steps in place. So if I back up, taking the cold shower is actually part of the steps, the process, because my goal in life, right, of late has been also to, be fit, to be healthier, and for some vanity reasons, have my skin looking great. And cold water also does that. So many times, as I said, we stop at once we think about our goals, then what do we do next? So suiting up. This is step 2 in the process. So we've already decided on the process of when it comes to being social or setting networking, we can decide that that's our goal, maybe to increase business, to increase sales. Suiting up goes back to that cold shower story, because you can want to do lots of things, but it actually takes taking action to actually also decide the why. So why do I take a cold shower? And why do we sometimes do things that we don't want to do? Because I will tell you, most mornings I don't say, yay, let's go jump in that shower. It's not something that I love doing, but the why is that I get rewards from it. And this is the key part of why we sometimes want to spend time on doing networking, doing social, is that we have to look at what are the rewards. And it's not always about doing something we love or even something we enjoy at times. But when we are suiting up, we're using something that is one of my favorite topics, which is curiosity. We get curious, we do research, we may even ask questions. And part of my process of suiting up is listening to podcasts, joining networking groups, and doing some of that deeper diving. Because when I heard that podcast and heard about the cold shower, I decided to integrate it into my daily routine. And I do get many rewards from it. The same holds true when being a social superhero or being a networking superhero. If you are being invited to be on a podcast, you want to go back and do your research and listen to some of them, get more comfortable with it. Often I hear people don't want to do video, or they're nervous about maybe going on a podcast. But if you use curiosity and strengthen that curiosity muscle, then you get more comfortable with the next step, which is showing up. Now, this is my favorite part. I love to show up, as most people will know when I've done speaking and done even events like this. I do like it, but it doesn't mean I skip over those first 2 steps. So you have to do the preparation. You have to get to the place. If you're going to show up and really enjoy showing up, if you do the signing up first, right mindset. Step 2 is suiting up, doing your research, knowing that you're comfortable with whatever content, or if you're going to be on a podcast, listen to the previous ones. That is probably the greatest tip I've had, is that I prepare by listening to those that have come before me. And then it's so much easier when you do decide to show up. And this is where curiosity is essential. For any of you that have seen the show Ted Lasso, if you haven't, I highly recommend it. One of the great quotes in there, he quotes Walt Whitman: "Be curious, not judgmental." So often, instead of critiquing others or critiquing ourselves, instead showing up is also about knowing that if you follow the steps ahead of time to show up, then you can get to that place of being less judgmental, especially towards yourself. And being a social superhero is not only about celebrating yourself, it's about celebrating others as well. And this is where, when you really want to rock that social superhero place, is celebrate other people, share their wins. When you are stepping into that spotlight and celebrating others, then that light shines back on you as well. And we often miss this step of gratitude. And I know someone that's in here today, Inger, is someone who does a lot of work in the area of gratitude. And once we show that gratitude, wow, that is when it comes back to us. And when we think about all the great superheroes, they didn't always do things for themselves. They're helping others as well. And when we think about our first day of school, first time riding a bike, for me, first time curling was a little stressful as well. Even the first day in a job. When we go back to those steps of signing up first, suiting up, and then it makes showing up so much easier. So when we look back at all of the things that we found to be difficult in life, when we're using that curiosity muscle and preparing, it does make showing up that much easier. And because this is a bit of a teachable moment, I want to give maybe a little bit of homework for everybody, because this is something, if you decide, if you pick first, what is it you want to sign up to do? What is your goal? And then I'd recommend taking 12 minutes a day to set aside to tackle a goal and go through these 3 steps with a goal. Why 12 minutes a day? 12 minutes a day is 1 hour a week. 1 hour of your time a week, setting aside to put steps in place to become a social media superhero, a networking superhero, maybe an increased salesperson superhero. And then write out those goals and start thinking about how you can put these steps in place, because a goal without those objectives and the steps, as we know, is only a dream. And we're not always going to like doing the things that lead us to getting to our success story. That cold shower in the morning, I had a conversation, someone asked, why do you do it? It's because, like Presh said, the energy I have afterwards is phenomenal. There is a reward. So I'm not doing it and hating it every day, because I know when I come out of the shower, I'm going to feel so much better. The same thing when we're doing homework leading up to coming to a networking event. What is it that we get from it? And when you get maybe a sale, maybe you recruit someone, whatever your goal is that's achieved, think about that reward that's at the end. Then you too can be your own social superhero, or basically a superhero in any area of life. Thank you.